First time I came, or they came up with the diagnosis for me, I felt like I was officially defective or broken or screwed, basically. And it put all my experiences became my fault. So I spent years and years and years going in and out of hospitals, trying different medications, and feeling like I would lose my soul on a lot of these medications. You know, I'd be sitting on the sofa watching TV for hours on end, and I came to a point where I said, if this is my life, I don't really want it. And I would go off medication and then have what people call symptoms and get into trouble. It wasn't seen as, or I didn't feel like the approach was, oh, you're having distress or you're having a hard time, let us help you. It was more like, oh, you did that again. And that means we have to intervene and take control of your life again. And I kept being told, you need to stay on these meds, you have a lifelong illness, the best you can hope for are some good periods, and you will be in the hospital now and then ongoing. And I eventually decided that I was not going to accept that view, and tried a couple of strategies. Unfortunately, found a peer group to be in, where I learned that there are people who have had extreme states and then had created lives worth living, and were engaged in the community and with other people. So that was a life changer for me. Seeing people in a context of whatever family system, school system, judicial system, and realize that it's an interaction, that it's not just isolated people being problematic, that somehow whatever is going on there is related to their relationships in the world. I adapted to a very dysfunctional situation as a child, and those adaptations weren't serving me well as an adult. And when I figured out that there were different things I can do and that I actually have a right to my feelings, that my feelings aren't wrong, and in fact, I had minimized a lot of my experiences instead of actually looking at them and sorting through them, and because pretty much I felt like I'm just one broken individual, but then meeting lots of people and saying, oh, I'm not, unique in that this is an experience a lot of people have had, and then how they've walked through it. So a huge help for me was the Hearing Voices Network, and it was a place they could actually go and talk about that experience without a fear-based response, and being able to talk about those experiences and finding meaning in them instead of just saying they're not real, or it's bad if you entertain them or listen to them, you need to take the medication and make it stop. I think the whole checkbox approach to evaluating somebody is not helpful. I think it's more helpful to have a conversation and ask somebody, what's going on? How do you see things? And then relating to that person from that perspective versus, do you have a plan? What are your, are they command voices, blah, 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 blah. All of which result, depending on how you answer those questions, into forced imprisonment, There are safe places to talk about deep emotional altered states where it's not seen as a bad thing or an illness, but seen as a human experience to grow from.